Welcome to Global Language Podcast. If you want to sound more professional, more confident, and more capable in English, you need more than just basic words. You need the kind of vocabulary that shows impact, responsibility, and growth. In real work situations, people don't say simple sentences like, "I did this," or "I worked on that." They use stronger words that clearly show what they achieved and how they handled situations. So today, we're going to build that kind of language, but not in a list. You're going to hear it in a natural flow, the way it actually sounds when someone talks about their work or experience. Imagine you're describing your past experience. Instead of saying you just worked somewhere, you say you managed responsibilities and handled challenges. You might explain that you coordinated tasks between different teams and delivered results under pressure. These verbs immediately make your experience sound stronger. When you say, "I managed multiple projects," it shows control and responsibility. The structure here is simple: manage plus object, like manage projects or manage time. Then you naturally move forward and say, "I'm managing my tasks more efficiently now." And when you talk about your future, it becomes, "I'll manage larger responsibilities." This shift in time happens naturally, without forcing yourself to think about grammar. Now think about growth. Instead of saying you got better, you say you developed skills and improved performance. You might describe how you developed communication skills over time, and now you're improving your ability to work under pressure. Later, you might say you will improve your performance even more. Notice how the verb stays the same, but the time changes based on context. In a professional setting, results matter a lot. So instead of saying you tried something, you say you achieved results. You might explain that you achieved strong outcomes in your previous role, and now you're achieving better results by changing your approach. Eventually, you'll achieve higher goals. The word achieve is almost always followed by something measurable, like results, goals, or targets. Now let's move to more advanced language. Instead of saying you did something, you say you executed it. For example, you executed a plan or executed a strategy. This word makes your actions sound precise and intentional. In real conversations, someone might say they executed a project successfully, and now they're executing tasks more efficiently. Another strong word is implement. This is used when you put a plan into action. You might say you implemented a new system or implemented a solution. In ongoing situations, you're implementing better processes, and in future roles, you'll implement more advanced strategies. When you want to show analytical thinking, you use the word analyze. Instead of saying you looked at data, you say you analyzed it. You might explain that you analyzed information to improve decisions, and now you're analyzing trends more carefully. Later, you'll analyze performance to make better choices. This verb is often followed by data, results, or patterns. Now think about problem solving. Instead of saying you fixed something, you say you resolved issues or solved problems. For example, you resolved a technical issue, or you solved a complex challenge. These words show that you don't just notice problems, you take action. In fast-paced environments, one key skill is the ability to prioritize. You don't just do tasks randomly, you prioritize important ones. You might say you prioritized tasks under pressure, and now you're prioritizing more effectively. This word often connects with decision-making. Another important concept is efficiency. Instead of saying you made something better, you say you optimized it. For example, you optimized a process or optimized performance. This word is commonly used in technical and business environments. Now let's talk about teamwork. You don't just work with others, you collaborate and contribute. You might say you contributed to the success of a project, and now you're contributing more actively. You can also say you collaborated with different teams, which shows cooperation and communication. In real work situations, things don't always go smoothly. That's where flexibility comes in. You use words like adapt and adjust. You might explain that you adapted quickly to changes or adjusted your approach when needed. These verbs show that you can handle uncertainty. Now let's connect everything. When you speak professionally, you don't jump between random words. You create a flow. You might describe your experience like this. You managed your responsibilities, handled challenges, coordinated with others, and delivered results. You developed your skills, improved your performance, and achieved your goals. You analyzed data, implemented solutions, executed strategies, and resolved problems. You prioritized your tasks, optimized processes, collaborated with your team, contributed to success, adapted to changes, adjusted your approach, and maintained consistent performance. This is not memorization. This is pattern recognition. Now pay attention to grammar, but in a natural way. Most of these verbs follow a simple structure: verb plus object. For example, manage tasks, develop skills, improve performance, analyze data. When you use them, you don't need complex grammar. You just need clear structure and confidence. Also notice how time changes naturally. When you talk about past experience, you say, I managed, I developed, I achieved. When you talk about current work, you say, I'm managing, I'm improving, I'm analyzing. And when you talk about future plans, you say, I will manage, I will improve, I will achieve. You don't need to think about grammar rules. You just shift based on meaning. This is how professional English works. It's not complicated, but it's precise. Now let it flow in your mind. You managed responsibilities, handled challenges, developed skills, improved performance, achieved results, analyzed data, implemented solutions, executed strategies, resolved problems, prioritized tasks, optimized processes, collaborated with others, contributed to success, adapted to change, adjusted your approach, maintained consistency, and demonstrated real value. That's how you sound professional, not by using difficult words, but by using the right words. Thanks for listening. This is Global Language Podcast,